Hello and welcome to the 36th episode of When I Was Your Age, a podcast celebrating the careers, callings, and creativity of some friends of mine. I'm your host, Roland Parker, and as always, it is a joy, a pleasure, and a treat to have you here. Today's guest is Hassan Thomas, and we're going to dive into what financial literacy means to him and the podcast that he hosts. Before we get started with him, a little bit of housekeeping as always. Make sure you follow the Instagram at WIWYA pod. And thank you guys so much for the support. We are currently at 1,426 followers, which means so much for all the support that you guys offer each week. If you are listening for the first time, consider giving us a follow on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, or you can also watch episodes on YouTube if that's more your speed. And if you are coming back to us, welcome home. Good to see you guys again. And the links to all of those places are available in the link tree in the Instagram bio. And without further ado, we'll bring Hassan into the stream. Hassan, how's it going with you, man? What's up?
Man, what's up? What's up, bro? I gotta give you your flowers. 1,000 followers. Y'all got the cool intro music, man. You got the soothing voice, man. I'm ready. I'm ready.
I love it, man. That's why I appreciate it. It always it means a little bit more when you're talking to like a podcast host and you're kind of like getting different pointers and things that you like there. So I love that. Well, what's this past week been looking like for you?
Man, so this past week, as you know, I just got back from speaking at our alma mater,
Sir.
Maryville College, man. It was just a full circle moment for me, bro. I graduated in 2020 and went from college to COVID and just, went from literally from, graduating in 2020 to starting FYI FLI. Man, the podcast since then, we've accumulated about 50,000 downloads. We've been listened to in 50 plus countries. And just last year, we actually won Podcast of the Year at the Southern Entertainment Awards. So from
I
there,
love it, man.
man, things have just been escalating. Took the podcast episodes, and then wrote 2 books on those from college to COVID. So that's actually the book series there. And then from the books, I then started speaking to high schools and colleges. And man, it's just been an incredible transformation, and just seeing the impact that I'm able to provide for people and help people out with making money, managing money. Because as you know, unfortunately, we weren't taught that at MC. We weren't taught that at school.
Yeah, it's a no doubt. I love it, and that's a big part of why I wanted to have you on. Is that it's a unique space to get to engage with young folks, especially
For
with
sure.
financial literacy. But yeah, I've got some get to know you questions that I'd like to throw your way if you don't care.
Let's do it.
All right, before that, if you guys aren't already, make sure that you follow Hassan on Instagram. You can see the ads there in the
Sheesh.
stream.
I ain't even have to say it. It's right there.
It's a, it's a, it's
Hey,
a.
this is
We love
tough.
it. We'll have it listed in the description of the episode as well. But first of all, where are you from, and where do you currently live?
Yep. So I'm from Houston, Texas. Grew up out there, and then got a scholarship to play football in Tennessee. So went out there from 2016 to 2020, and then from then I've been living in South Florida since then.
Nice, love it. And what do you do? You can do side hustles. You can do main digs. What are you about?
For sure. So financial literacy. If it's financial literacy, I am there. So started with the podcast, like I said, and then wrote 2 books. So author as well, and then started speaking and teaching. So educator, public speaker, and then I was also blessed from actual my own podcast. I interviewed the largest financial wellness company for college students, a company called iGrad. Bro, by the end of the interview, they were like, Hassan, we need you on the team, man. They were like, we're looking for somebody who's graduated college but not too far removed. We're
Mhm.
looking for somebody who's a previous student athlete, and also somebody who's passionate about financial literacy. Roland, bro, when I tell you, I looked around, I was like, are y'all
So that's,
talking about me?
so that's me. You're right. Exactly.
So I actually have that full-time job as well as everything that I'm doing. And it kind of coincides because now I get to combine my first passion of sports with my current passion of financial education, because I'm the student athlete engagement manager at that company that I was telling you about.
I love that, man. That's a great way to combine just the passions, and I love to see the way you've carved out that intersection for yourself. That's really cool.
I
Um,
appreciate it, brother.
that's a big theme of the podcast for us is age. So, how old are you?
25, 25.
25, staying alive. We
Maybe,
love it.
maybe, maybe by the time this episode come out, I'll be 26. So my birthday's on the 28th.
Oh, I love it, man. That's awesome. It's well, it's yeah, I think we should be out before your birthday, but
Okay, 25. Let me keep my youth, baby. Let me keep my
it's
youth.
there we go. There we go. That's well, happy early birthday to you. We love to see it.
Appreciate you.
What piece of media are you currently enjoying? So kind of book, podcast, music, TV
Mhm.
show. What's kind of your go-to right now?
Bro, that is a great question, bro. So I don't feel right unless I have some type of Netflix series. It's crazy to
Yeah.
say, but like I think like last year, I'm like, my mind is just so focused on work, and I didn't really have nothing to kind of take my mind off of it. And I realized I was like, I ain't got no Netflix series to
Hmm.
watch. So right now, bro, be honest with you, I'm watching a show called Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Yeah, man. That's a
Have
good
you heard
one.
of that?
It's a yeah. My roommate Parker, he was a big Brooklyn Nine-Nine fan in college. So like I've never watched it through,
Uh,
but I've definitely been in the room like like in passing and stuff, like when he was
yeah,
watching it, and I'd like be out the door and kind of like looking at it because
facts.
it'd catch me. Yeah, I
Yeah, man,
like
that
it, man.
man
It's a good one.
Andy was it Andy Sandberg?
Hmm.
I've seen him in so many other things, and everything that he's in, he's hilarious. So I'm like, this gotta be funny. So like, I've
Yeah,
been watching it. Yeah, that's a
yeah.
funny question though. I like that.
That's a absolute we love it. What's something that you'd consider a luxurious necessity? So when I think of this, it's kinda something that is a part of your routine. It's a little on the bougier side, the nicer
Mm,
side, but it's not something that you'd be willing to give up. And I've seen people talk about this in the terms of like work or just any many other parts of their life. But what does that mean to you when I say that?
mhm. A bougie necessity. That's good. I would say I have some protein powder that is, um, it's not vegan,
Uh-huh.
but I don't eat a lot of vegetables, and it's like organic and it has like vegetables and the protein.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I'm able to get my mix in there of the greenery. So my mom would be happy that I have that. So and that it is a little bit more on the expensive side, but I wouldn't be willing to give that up.
Nice. Nailed the
Got it
booth
right here.
there. There you go. Love that. It's a gotta secure it before bed. I love that.
Yes, sir.
Uh, do you have any bits that you're doing, running jokes that, with you and friends or significant other, or even just like yourself? Like big one for
Hmm.
me, I always find myself saying like, "Oh yeah, that was my nickname in high school," or like, "That's what she
Mm.
said," or like jokes like that. I kind of think of those
Mm.
as bits. But is there anything like that that you think of there?
Honestly, no, but I do have a reminder in my phone that says trust your work.
Mm,
And what I mean by that is whenever you come across an obstacle or situation that you don't think that you can do, look what you've done in the past.
mm.
And trust your work. Trust that you can do it. You balled in the past, so you're gonna ball now. You're gonna make it happen now. So I know that wasn't a joke, but that was the only thing that I could that came to my mind when he was like a quick bit. I would say to trust your work.
No, definitely. I think that, looking at what people have their alarms, like, named as is, like, a good way to figure out what they're about, so
Facts.
I love that. Alright. So I've been really loving asking this question because I get to compile all the answers into
Yeah.
a playlist. But if you had the opportunity to replace the national anthem with any song that you got downloaded on your phone, what
Hmm.
would that be? And tell me a little bit about that. I've seen people go lots of different directions here, but what song kind of jumps out at you that you would want to hear at the sporting event?
Hmm.
Well, what do you kind of think of?
Oh, it gotta be finito, easily.
I love it.
Gotta be Chief Keef finito. I'm a
Uh,
gorilla. Yeah, yeah. That would get
that's
everybody
perfect.
turned up at the situation. Yeah,
That's great.
definitely finito.
Love that. Well, if you want to hear Finito, and a bunch of other answers from everybody, all the other guests, then make sure that you go follow the national anthem playlist. We've got it linked in the link tree, and you can find it there. And then last question, we've touched on it already, is how do we know each other?
MC, baby, you already know. MC alum, Scots for life, go Scots, Scots by 90, baby.
Yes, sir. We love it. So you graduated in 20, I graduated in 19, so that, you know, tons of overlap there. We love to see that. All right. Well, I'd love to dive a little further into your story. So you've got FYI FLI. Tell me the story of FYI FLI and how that came to be.
For sure, bro. So it was literally started my senior year, 2019. I was playing running back at Maryville. My first 3 years, I was playing safety. And as you remember, I had a dog in front of me. Blake Henderson. I had a dog in front of me. So I didn't play too much, man. But my senior year, I got an opportunity. Coach was like, it was 5th week of the season. And he was like, Hassan, you've been doing your thing these first few weeks. And if you ball this week, then you're going to have the opportunity to start against our rival, Huntington College, on Saturday. So, man, Monday practice comes and Coach Hayes is like, all right, start us up. And I'm looking because I'm like, is he going to call me? Like, you know what I mean? So he was like, Thomas, you're in. And I was like, oh, that's me. So that was literally, you know, my chance that I've been working so hard for. You know, I switched positions. I didn't play too much my first 3 years. So I'm like, yeah, this is my time to shine. So, bro, I get in my running back stance. I get in my position, bro. I take my steps. I'm running, and then I get wrapped up. And one of my teammates that's wrapping me up, they don't take me down to the ground because they're trying to save me for Saturday's game because it's pretty much already over. I'm already wrapped up. And while I'm being wrapped up, I'm being held up kind of like this. You really can't see, but I'm being held up straight like that. And one of the O linemen actually blocks a defensive lineman to the ground. But the thing is, there was something in between the ground and my teammate, and that something was my knee, bro.
Yikes.
So you got to keep in mind, I'm being held up like this. And then, boom, from the side, 250-pound linemen come crashing down on my knee. So I'm limping. I'm trying to shake it off. And, man, I just couldn't even put no weight on it. And eventually found out that I tore my meniscus and I wasn't able to play anymore. And, you know, just from there, bro, I was like, you know, I know you know, but your listeners and your viewers, I'm kind of an energetic and passionate person. So I had to find something else to really put that energy into, bro. And what that was, if you're viewing this, you can see behind me, I got this money. I got these Ben Franks behind me. So what that was financial education and financial literacy. Because I realized, you know, if our peers, people that we went to school with, if we're graduating without being taught financial education, we're literally not understanding how to be a successful adult. So we go through all this schooling to either what? Get a job or start our own business. And both of those scenarios, we're going to be making money.
Yeah.
So the fact that school, and I love MC, and it's not just MC, it's a lot of these schools that don't have financial education.
It's systemic. Yeah, it's everywhere.
Yeah. So, you know, from there, I'm like, okay, I can educate myself. I can start a podcast to then educate others on financial education and make it cool, make it relevant, make it fly. And that's pretty much, you know, how it came about, man. That injury that happened in September. So from there, I had my knee surgery in December. I came back to MC for my final spring semester, my senior year, spring semester, my final one. And man, I'm on crutches. As you know, in January, it's snowing in Tennessee and it's super cold. And I'm over there crutching to over 15 plus different meetings. So I met with my professors, Dr. Gallagher. I miss him. He retired, I think, 2020 or 2021. Okay, but I met with all them. And then from there, I started meeting with advisors, met with the advisors. Then I started meeting with some higher faculty members. And then ended up, after those 15 meetings, ended up getting a meeting with the dean, Dean Klingensmith.
Yeah.
I got a meeting with him on March 3rd of 2020. And I say 2020 for a reason. Yeah. So that was March 3rd of 2020.
We know it's coming.
Yes, exactly. So March 16th happens. The world stopped. COVID is going crazy. And the meeting went well. But that's really what gave me that confirmation that this was a need. I can start that podcast. So Remy G and I, we start the podcast in 2020 of August. And like I said, since then, we've actually accumulated about 50,000 downloads, been listened to in 50 plus countries, and we won Podcast of the Year at the Southern Entertainment Awards.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like the backstory of how everything all started, and then it just progressed from there, bro.
That's amazing, man. I love the pivot too with you encountered some adversity there with the injury, especially on the tail end of like, all right, I'm starting behind Behendo. I'm gonna I'm not getting
Yeah.
as much playing time as I maybe would like to see. And then as soon
Mm-hmm.
as the opportunity comes up, that you get sidetracked in that way. But then it's turned out. I doubt that in that moment you could have seen the success of where you are now with that.
Facts.
So that's awesome to see. Um, Tell me a little bit about why it was important to you to have this content targeted to young people, high school, college age folks.
For sure.
I think that's a great part of what you're doing.
100%. It's man, it's all I'm doing, man. I can only teach and talk about what I know. You know what I mean? And what I'm doing. So I can't go and tell, I can give some because information, this type of information that I'm teaching is applicable to everyone, but I can't go and teach somebody with 4 or 5 kids, or
Mhm.
somebody who's they're already stuck in their ways, they're already kind of gonna do what they want to do.
Sure.
But people in our age group, we've gone through some of the same experiences.
Yeah.
We've gone through COVID, we've gone through different things where I'm able to be like, hey bro, I know we all feel like we can't save money, or we can only save money once we really have that big bag. Bro, I started saving $50 a month in a Roth IRA. We're
Yeah.
not, bro. We spend $50 on food sometimes. We go out to the bar and we spending more than 50.
Yeah.
Maybe not in Tennessee, because when I went back, the prices were, now I'm telling on myself, but the prices was amazing compared to out here and in DC and some other places like that. So basically what I'm saying is, man, the age group that I chose to really make an impact in is the one that I'm a part of,
Hmm.
because I can relate to what they're going through. I can show them what I'm doing, because that's the thing, bro. You got to have social proof. People have to see it to believe it.
Yeah.
So when I'm showing you, hey, I started with 50, I got the receipts to prove that. Now that I got a full-time job for the first time in 4 years, after being an entrepreneur and working the Door Dashes and working the Uber Eats and doing all that with the side hustles, now that I finally have a full-time job that I like, now I'm able to invest $200 a month.
Yeah.
But it started from 50.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of the reason why I was like, hey, I can talk about what I know. I can talk about what I actually do. And the people that I'm speaking to can actually relate, because we're at most 5, 6 years apart, but we're still going through the same type stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Like being that immediate step away from college and like having like the recency of
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, I was just right there, and like in a lot of ways I'm still experiencing some of the same stuff that you're going through
Yeah.
with that. So having that there's a credibility to like, hey, like I'm just like you in everything that I'm going through. Like I
Mm-hmm.
was in college when COVID was happening. You guys are, definitely still remember that, I'm sure. Like
Yeah.
it's a being that it's a it I think that it helps to have that voice rather than like a Dave Ramsey. They're a little like removed from that experience. They've been laid
Yeah.
up for a while, versus like maybe more
Mm-hmm.
in the thick of it, kind of
And,
experience
and what
that.
I've actually found, bro. So I the guy that I opened up for at MC, his name was Eric Smith, and he was an older gentleman. But and I've always thought about, I'm like, am I just getting booked by all these schools because I'm young? Like, I'm like, dang,
Mhm.
what's gonna happen when I get older, bro? So I'm like, okay, I had a chance to really learn from Eric Smith. He was the first financial literacy speaker to be approved by the NCAA.
Okay.
So he's been doing it for like 25 years. So the fact that I got, when I went back to MC just last week, the fact that I got to learn from him, talk to him. And I saw, so what I do when I tell people, I'm like, hey, I was just in your shoes. And when I was there, I didn't like to be talked at. I'd rather be talked with.
Mm-hmm.
So I always say that, and I try to make my talks, my educational workshops, I make it one big conversation. So the one I just had one before we got on this podcast, and only 3 people showed up. But you know why that worked so well, bro? It was a big conversation with 3 people,
Yeah.
a big money conversation. So I'm bringing that up to say I saw how the older gentleman, Eric Smith, how he did the same thing. He didn't talk or lecture. He made it a big conversation.
Yeah.
So for anybody listening that wants to be a speaker, that wants to be, a leader, make things, don't tell people, show people, talk
Mm-hmm.
with people, because I believe people are our biggest assets, bro. Because you got to think about it. Business doesn't do business. People do business.
Yeah.
And people go do business with people that they like and people who are striving to be that expert in their field.
I love that. Well, it has to have been a cool moment too. So you mentioned you got to get the experience with Eric Smith, and
Yeah,
kind of see what he was about. But tell me about getting to speak at your alma mater at Maryville College. That's got to be a unique thing.
for sure.
What was that like? What did you have any strong feelings when you were doing it? Tell me about that.
Yeah, bro. It was a complete blessing. When I tell you I was walking around that thing feeling like the president, man. Literally, I'm going to Pearson's, I'm going to Isaac's,
Mhm.
and the workers, the staff, they're running up to me, giving me hugs like I just graduated last year.
Mhm.
Bro, it's been 4 years. You know what I mean? So the fact that they were so excited to see me, I was excited to see them. I ran back up to them and gave them big hugs. Like they had to take the gloves off and everything because they was back there working. They took the gloves off and gave me a hug and everything, and it was just amazing to see everybody, bro. And it just felt like MC didn't change. Like this is
Mhm.
still MC. It's still amazing people here. It's still amazing staff. Even the new staff, they're super cool. Just like when we got on campus freshman year and we're seeing all new faces, everybody was super cool. Everybody, treats you as their own. They try to take care of you, try to make sure everything's okay. So man, that part was a complete blessing. And then the speaking part, coming back there after 4 years, it's just full circle, bro. Like I went there for 4 years, and then after that, I've grinded for 4 years, and the fact to be back, it's like coming back like by my senior year of entrepreneurship,
Mhm.
like you know what I mean. Like it's my fourth
Yeah,
year of entrepreneurship,
that's
and
great.
now I get to go back and kind of solidify, everything that I've done over these 4 years, and I just believe it's God working. He's working His hand. And even at the end of this month, bro, I'm going back to Houston for my birthday. And I haven't told nobody this just yet, but my high school is actually honoring me for Alumni of the Year, bro.
That's amazing, man. That's special. I love to hear that.
Man, when they told me that, I was like, what? I was like, this feels like a lifetime achievement award.
Mhm.
Like to get that from the high school that you graduated from, I'm like, man, this is God working. And for anybody seeing this, like you're seeing me in the fourth year. So don't compare where you're at in your journey to where I'm at.
Mhm.
Because in year one and year two, I could have been well below you, and you could be right here in your year one.
Yeah.
So just keep grinding, stay consistent, love people, love and interact with people. I don't care how smart you are, I don't care what tech you know. If you can't communicate and make people feel like they're valued and they mean something, it's not going to work out for you, boss.
Yeah. 100%. Well, speaking of the communication piece and interacting with people, one thing that I really like about what you do when you're interacting with your guests on the show is I find myself thinking of like, what's a question that's a high school student or like somebody like still in college, like what's something that Well, so somebody that are in those groups would
Mhm,
want some clarification on, and like by the time I'm thinking that you've already kind of like extended and asked it, and I can't think of like a good example of one
mhm.
recently, but I remembered thinking in that moment, I was like, wow, that's like a really good skill to have.
Yeah.
But what tell me about the process of learning how to interview folks well. Because it's something that I feel like I've developed
Mhm.
and grown in.
Yeah.
But what was that like for you? Did you suck at it initially and got better over time, or did you have like a
Mhm.
natural knack? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so I had a natural knack of just talking and speaking with people,
Mhm.
but as far as being an interviewer, I actually had to develop something that I didn't have, to be honest, which is empathy. I had to develop empathy and put myself into other people's shoes and really, because honestly, coming up, bro, I had to block out other people's feelings and block out other people's opinions coming from Houston, Texas. Like, that just I was a football player. Like, the people I was around, it just wasn't a super caring and nurturing. Of course, for my parents, I'm talking about, like,
Sure,
in the
sure.
schools and football and stuff like that. Like, you gotta have some tough skin to grow up
Yeah.
out there. So I developed the I don't care mindset. Like, somebody talk about me, I don't care. Like, that's what you talk about, a famous bid or bit that you said. That was mine in high school. I don't care, bro.
Mhm.
You talk this, I don't care. So when I got into interviewing, of course, one of the first few people I thought about was Oprah. She's like the best interviewer ever,
Yeah.
like the
Just
GOAT.
pulling stuff out of people, yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And what it was, bro, it was her empathy for others. So
Mhm.
I had to develop that through podcasting. And now that has helped me talking to any and everybody. I can carry conversations, conversation get awkward. I can pull it out and make it right. So that podcast has helped me become more personable. And that works when I go to conferences, that works at the club, at the bar, that works any and everywhere.
I love it.
So 100%, bro. Interviewing has definitely helped me. I would encourage everybody to start a podcast around something that they want to learn more about or they're passionate about. You don't even have to be an expert, because when I started, I was a student athlete. I wasn't a financial literacy expert.
Mhm.
I started in 2020 as soon as I graduated. So you can hear from the first season, I'm and you know how when like you have something to say, you dive into it and you talk about it. In the first season, bro, I'm only asking questions right after the podcast guest answers,
Mhm.
because I have no value to spit back. I have nothing. I really didn't know nothing about no financial literacy. So
Gotcha.
I had above average intelligence because I was a business management major. But as far as personal finance, I didn't have the knowledge that I do today. So
Yeah.
I saw the switch maybe second season, third season, where I'm like, okay, I'm listening to them, and then I can provide some value back
Mm.
after they're done.
Apply your
Compared
own knowledge to what they're saying.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly compared to the first season where it's asking the question. Oh, okay. Here's another question, because I really don't know. I'm just learning from that guest. So yeah,
Mhm.
I could definitely see the change and the value of podcasting and just talking to people, being personable. Huge,
Yeah,
huge.
that's a absolutely. Well, you touched on something already that I was going to ask you about was that I was your podcast and another friend that I have his podcast kind of at the same time, like within maybe like a couple days of each other.
Mhm.
Both of you said that you like to utilize the podcast as a networking tool.
Yes.
And it was kind of bizarre to have like the element of it coming from you and coming from him too. So
Facts.
like the as having it line up from different parts of my life. I was like, oh wow, this is a cool thing, and I liked it a lot. But tell me, like, have there been any unique networking opportunities because of the podcast? I kind of know the answer because I've listened to it, but like
Mhm.
tell me about what that's been like for you.
Bro, I can tell you there's a financial conference called FinCon.
Okay.
I've gone every single year since 2021. Of course, we couldn't go in 2020. But I've gone every single year since 2021. And this last year, I've interviewed 32 people from that conference.
Wow. That's awesome.
32 people. I release episodes every Friday. So that's 32 weeks
That's
of
awesome.
episodes that I've done. And I knocked those out from October to December. So
That's
now
great.
I'm chilling on content. I'm chilling on, you know what I mean? I'm editing it and I'm dropping it on Fridays because I've already done the initial work of batching that content before.
Mm-hmm.
So that's even just one example of the power of a podcast and the network that it can bring you. Like one time, me and my cousin, we were on a beach in South Carolina. I think it's Hilton
Yeah.
Head, South Carolina. We were on a beach, and they had bikes that you could rent out, and we were riding the bikes on the beach, and there were some houses to the left, and they were huge, and they were kind of like beat down. But I'm like, man, I interviewed a real estate agent named O'Neill Parker, and I'm like, man, I know he would know what to do with them houses, get a fix and flip and get in there and turn it up. So I'm like, let me call him. Let
Mm-hmm.
me see if he gonna answer. So I'm literally FaceTiming him on the beach. And bro picks up like we're just, best friends. Like he answered the
Wow.
phone and we're talking. And I'm like, hey, bro, what would you do with this house over here? He was like, yeah, I would fix it and flip it and then sell it to this and do all this. So I'm like, man, like literally after the podcast conversation, I'm sorry. Another thing just popped in my head.
No,
Bro,
go for it.
I got my full-time job from podcasting.
Yeah, there you go.
Like if that don't tell you nothing right there, bro, that should tell you everything. Like I said, I've interviewed the CEO and the VP of the largest financial wellness company for college students, iGrad. By the end of the interview, they were like, we need you on the team. A month later, they hired me full-time as a student athlete engagement manager. And they still, most jobs, they would kind of try to downplay what you're doing on the side.
Mm-hmm.
But since I met them from what I'm doing on the side, they're like, hey, keep doing it, keep balling. And even to that point, bro, I'm starting a podcast for them.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So that new podcast is going to be called Nothing But Net Worth.
Oh,
You,
I
you,
like it, and
you,
I've seen some of the graphics for it, so I'm excited for what that's gonna mean.
yes,
Uh,
sir. Yes, sir.
I love it, man. I got to shout out Hampton Dortch. He was the friend that I mentioned that was talking about that, but he like you does his podcast is kind of leadership
Okay.
focused, and it's tied very much into the leadership development that he does at his work.
Mm,
And he also has another is the host of one of the podcasts for that company.
that's
So
tough. Hey, you got to connect us, bro. He sound like he on his
I love
stuff.
it. It's a dude. He's a LinkedIn rock star. Yeah, I'm sure you would you would connect on that level for sure. But yeah,
Oh yeah, you follow
uh,
me on LinkedIn?
it's a I'm not a big LinkedIn user. I'm trying to be better, but we got to make sure that
I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I go
we
crazy on LinkedIn.
love it. It's
Wait,
we'll make sure to do that, and we'll drop the LinkedIn details in the description
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
of the show as well.
If you want to take life seriously, you need to be on LinkedIn. And I'm telling you this because the people that are on LinkedIn, they're taking business, they're taking, their brand seriously.
Hmm.
So if you want to be serious about your brand, you're finding a good job, get on LinkedIn and connect with people that are doing what you want to do.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. And lately, I've seen kind of more of a personal skew of that lately. Like people are revealing like bigger parts of their lives, like, oh, yeah, it was my anniversary, or it was my
Hmm.
kid's birthday, or they hit a home run, or like different
Yeah,
stuff too. But it's in line with um their professional development and stuff too. It's interesting to see. It doesn't feel the same as when I first like saw it.
bro, you
If
are
that
100%
if that makes sense.
spot on, bro.
Yeah.
You are. Now I say LinkedIn has turned into a business Facebook.
Yeah.
It's
Hmm.
like a business Facebook now, bro. It 100% used to be suited up, buttoned up. You can't do nothing.
Yeah.
You can't talk about no person. It definitely used to be like that. But now, what I've realized is the business people, they want to see that you have some human like
Right.
characteristics. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we know you're good at speaking. Yes, we know you do this, but tell us a little bit more about yourself. Like, who are you besides the businessman, the businesswoman? So you were spot on with that one.
Love that. Love to see it. This is a question I like to ask my podcast host is, do you listen to your own episodes? Because this is I get a mixed bag of answers, but do you, aside from like editing, do you ever go back and like listen to the episodes as they come out?
100%. Each listener is a count towards the listenership count, baby.
There
Come
we go.
on. Hey,
I love it.
I'm gonna be that one.
Exactly.
What?
All right. So knowing that, then, do you
Yeah.
have a favorite episode that you've put out?
I have a favorite. Yeah, I'm gonna say I have a favorite episode.
Okay.
I'm gonna be real. I love all my guests, but when you asked me that, one of them came to mind, and his name is Dontel Antonio, the king of content.
Okay.
When I tell you his energy, oh my goodness, you think my energy good.
Yeah.
Bro, he got on the podcast. I guess he put his computer or whatever, or his camera on a standing desk. Bro, he was
Just
standing during the podcast.
just bouncing.
Bro, I'm talking about punching with the information. Like, so
Oh,
he helps people create content. So I interviewed him on how he helps people create the content. What are some of the biggest issues that he's seeing in the content game? So, bro, he's walk around pacing. You know what I mean? Like, he was in it.
I love it.
So I think to this day, he's one of my favorite guys. I'm not gonna say the favorite. I don't want to single nobody out, but
Yeah.
he's definitely one of the ones for
Uh,
sure.
I love that. Yeah, it makes a real difference too when you're interviewing people, and just the way that they're talking back to you and kind of like making you feel good as an interviewer and opening up in that way.
Facts.
It makes a real difference for sure. All right, so there's a question that you ask everybody at the end of each episode, and
Mhm.
it's more money, more problems, and versus money can't buy happiness. And
Yeah.
you're asking people to identify which one they agree with more. So tell me,
Mhm.
how did you come up with posing that question? Why was that important to you to put that out there?
Yeah, because those are two big money mantras, or probably the biggest ones that we know besides money is the root of all evil. And I'm
Mhm.
not finna have that on the podcast because we're talking about how we can use money to better our lives.
Nice.
So it was either money can't buy happiness or more money, more problems, like the Biggie song. And I get so many different answers. I think the best one that I got, he said, happiness is a term of the heart.
Mm,
So if your heart is happy, no matter how much money you have, you will be happy. Now that money will come maximize whatever your heart is feeling. So if you have a good heart, you love people, you're generous. When you get that money, you're gonna be 10 times more generous. You're gonna be 10 times more loving.
mm,
But if your heart's not where it needs to be, once you get that money, it's not gonna bring happiness. It's gonna 10 times the anger. It's gonna 10 times, the stress. Because yeah, you can get that new Lambo, but we're gonna drive it for a week, 2 weeks, and the feeling's gonna fade. And
yeah.
you're gonna be right back saying, oh, I need a new this, I need a new that. So I think out of those two, I would definitely go money can't buy happiness.
Mhm.
I think it can buy temporary joy, but I don't think it can buy pure happiness. I don't agree with that.
Yeah, I'm kinda with you there. I
Well, I
think
do
that
agree with it. I do agree
it
that money can't buy happiness.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm with you in that way, because money for me, while it doesn't solve everything, it can be a really good tool, for,
Hmm.
it's a getting to a lifestyle that you hope to attain. It can be a great tool for
Fact.
generosity, and other things that you can move your own life and others' lives there. Um, but
100%.
it's not gonna appease everything that you're wanting and hoping for. So I love that. I love that you asked that question, and I love getting to see where people go with it. Um, well, that's all the questions that I've got, but we do have a tradition of guests asking guests questions. So
Hmm.
I'll extend this opportunity to you as well. But Robbie Garrison was the guest in the previous episode.
Hmm.
And the question that he had was, if you had a chance to do it over again, would you do it the exact same, or would you tweak it to pursue your passion? And I'm interested to hear where you go with it.
I honestly would do it that exact same, bro. To
Mm-hmm.
be honest with you, everything from the failures to the app that I was trying to start when I first got out, from all that, everything that I learned has literally been like we still talking about money a little bit, compounding interest. Whenever you have money in an asset that's going to rise or appreciate, and you
Mm-hmm.
keep it in there over time, it's going to get bigger and bigger. Well, I've realized I have compounding efforts.
Mm-hmm.
I've been putting the same effort, going hard in the same field, in the same area for the last 4 years. And it's just now starting to take off.
Yeah.
It's just now starting to take off. So that's kind of what I was saying earlier about excuse me.
You're
That's
good.
kind of what I was saying earlier about, y'all don't compare where you're at in your year one, year two to where I'm at in year four.
Mm-hmm.
Because from the efforts that I've had from year one, year two, year three, now things are starting to pop off. But if
Yeah.
I would have given up, then I would have been like, man, everything was a waste. Everything, what did I do it for? It was all a waste. But if you don't give up, if you keep going, like you don't lose until you quit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like you can't tell me I took an L if I'm still going. The game's still going. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like I can come back fourth quarter like COVID, baby. Boom. Game winner. Now what? You know what
And
I mean?
I love it. I love it. Yeah, and I love what you said too about I think very very classically of the compounding interest like graph of like it starts out really small and
Yeah.
then it starts to grow and then it just kind of explodes and takes off. Um, but yeah, I love the thought there too of it being an effort piece of like
Yeah.
I'm doing these small things like all throughout my life on a consistent basis, and it's leading to this massive growth. But it didn't start out that way. It started out really small.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a cool thing. Well, as a great answer, great question, Robbie. Want to give you the opportunity now for whoever comes next.
Mm-hmm.
What question would you like to ask to them?
Let's see. Let's see. What question would I ask the next guest? Hmm. I would ask them to give their biggest highlight of their journey and then give the biggest low light or the most challenging or adverse situation they had to go through.
Mm,
So give their best moment of their journey and the worst and the lowest moment that they had to push through and persevere through.
yeah, I love it. I think it's good to look at the extremes of a journey and especially in reflecting back on
Facts.
it because yeah, it's good to go in it and check on it. You mentioned the feeling like a full circle moment when you went back to Maryville
Hmm.
College. It in that moment, it felt like such a cool thing, I'm sure, but
Oh yeah,
building up there, it probably was just a bunch of individual pieces. So I love to get to see that.
one hundred
All right,
percent, brother.
all right, man. Well, I don't want to hold up too much for this evening. So any closing or parting thoughts before we bring the episode out?
For sure, man. So me and my co-host, we have a famous saying that we like to say. So whenever you run into an obstacle, whenever you run into a scenario that kind of throws you back, take a step back, look at the entirety of that situation, analyze it, and you do two things. You make a plan and you make a play. You make a plan to overcome that obstacle and how you're going to do it, and then you go execute and make a play and actually overcome that obstacle.
Mm,
So thank you, Roland, bro. This was great. You are an amazing podcast host. Thank you so
thank you,
much.
bro.
I'm happy I was able to get on the show. And everybody definitely follow me right there. I ain't even gotta say it because it's right there. But definitely follow me, tap in with me, and let's connect. Let's connect.
I love it, man. Well, I appreciate you taking the time and being flexible with it. It means a lot. And yeah, make sure you guys go follow Hassan and FYI Fly there. But that's going to conclude episode 36 of When I Was Your Age. Really appreciate you guys coming around, and we'll catch you in the next one.